Oh, hello everyone. I hope you're all well. I hope you're living your life according to the way you want to live it. You're being kind to yourself. You're looking after yourself, looking after your beautiful putty cats, your beautiful animals, whatever animal you have, and you're just being kind to people in the world just to make this place a better world. Plus, you're looking after your parents, your family. You're being kind to people, even if you don't know them. So today we're going to talk about all things Ripple and XRP. And there's always, as I said, so much going on when we talk about XRP and Ripple. So let's have a look at the news stories here and let's see what's going on today. Guys, I don't know how long this will take. I always go a bit longer than I want to. But as you know, Western Union has made an offer to MoneyGram, apparently, according to Bloomberg and finance magnates, a takeover deal. But we don't know how much that takeover deal is. We've seen both Western Union and MoneyGram's price go up. I think MoneyGram at the moment is about $3.36. A couple of my clients have actually bought MoneyGram quite smartly when it was about $1.30, which is great. So we know that Western Union, apparently last year or a couple of years ago didn't like XRP or Ripple and didn't see that it made a lot of sense or that it was cost effective. But interestingly enough, they seem to have changed their mind, the silly people, and so now they're looking at potentially offering a deal to MoneyGram. Now, I have seen some figures around that when Ripple invested in MoneyGram, which is 50 million, it was either 8, 9.5, or 10% of their stock. And obviously, to make over a takeover bid for any company, you need to get 50% of their stock. So, which is going to make things very interesting in terms of if Ripple, are holding, say, a significant interest, obviously, of 10% of the stock. I'm sure they'll want to sell it, or maybe they won't. I don't know, but it could be very, very interesting. This article says that they own 9.95% of MoneyGram stock. So it'll be interesting to see who else owns MoneyGram stock, which I must have a look at the stock register and just have a look at that. Now, just had a look at MGI institutional holders, MoneyGram institutional holders, and I was really interested in that. Now, according to this, they've got, and this is from the NASDAQ, okay, according to this, they've got, excuse me, outstanding shares of 63 million, and Ripple purchased, I don't know how much Ripple, they used 50 million to buy shares. So if you divide 50 million, which is not quite right, by 63 million, it works out to be about 8%, okay? So, which looks, roughly 8% is about right. So if we look at the overall positions and who's holding what, here, according to the institutional investors, there's 113 institutional holders, and we need to, obviously for a takeover bid, they need to basically, Western Union need to purchase at least 50% of the shareholding, okay, to actually make a takeover bid. So according to this, the people they're going to have to convince are Vanguard Group, because according to this, they hold 41%, and Morgan Stanley, which hold our big Western Union are, just so that we have our facts and figures together. They are a very large company. They're larger than MoneyGram. Their headquarters is in Denver, Colorado. They were founded, amazingly so, in 1851. They have 5.6 billion revenue, which is a lot. They are huge. Apparently, they're in 200 different countries in the world, so very, very big indeed. And also, they did something like billions and billions of dollars of remittance every year. So they are a very, very big organisation. And if we go into Slack, and Aaron was kind enough to put this up, one of my clients, but if we have a look at this, let's just click on that. What's the problem here? The system's very slow at the moment. Western Union has a lot more transfers than anyone in this cross-border market transfer, literally in the billions. Now, last year they said they did 80 billion, and MoneyGram is actually the third for money transfers. So if you have a look at this, Western Union, this is in 2017. Oops, sorry, this is playing around with me a bit today, so my apologies. Western Union, oops, what am I doing now? Western Union basically did something like 80 billion in money transfers last year, and this is a 2017, so it looks like about 70 billion. UAE exchange, wow, that's a lot. Did over 20 billion. MoneyGram over 20 billion. So you can see Western Union are the biggest of all the cross-border remittances, which is fantastic. Okay, so that is going to really put Ripple and XRP on the map. Seriously, particularly if MoneyGram are taken over, certainly Western Union will look to implement, I would say, XRP and Ripplenet for sure, according to hopefully this takeover bid. Now, if you remember rightly, there was a couple of takeover bids a couple of years ago for MoneyGram, and they're in the according to this fellow here, Stangard, they're at $13.25 per share and $15.20 per share. And apparently Ripple have paid $4.10 per share. So if that's the case and they come anywhere near that, that's going to be like threefold or fourfold in terms of what Ripple actually paid for MoneyGram, which is a fantastic investment in itself, okay? So that is a fantastic story, okay? Homepage, they say they're in 200 countries and territories. They've been around for well over 145 years, and last year they did 80 billion in cross-border payments. Now, they also say they do an average of 31 transactions per second, which is really, really slow because they're using, obviously, Swift and the old legacy systems of the 1970s. So we know with Ripplenet and XRP, just as a minimum, they can do at least 1,500 to 2,000 transactions per second. And some of their other systems, I've been told, can do way up to 50,000 transactions per second. So the fact that these guys, Western Union, can only do 31 transactions per second is really, really slow. And it doesn't surprise me if they're looking to take over a MoneyGram, which is a cheap entry into Ripplenet. But not only that, they also get MoneyGram's clients. Now, MoneyGram would have millions and millions and millions of clients, and it just makes Western Union bigger and bigger, okay? So that's why they would be doing it, okay? So that is a great story in itself. Now, there's other stories that have come to light for Ripple. Ripple are actually been talking to the central bank of Brazil, which is really interesting. Now, Brazil, if you know, is a country in South America. It's a huge country. And they have literally 211 million people. They speak Portuguese over there. It's a very, very big country. And it's one of the largest countries in South America and Latin America. Now, the Brazilians have a lot of remittance in a year. It's about 209, it's quite a lot. It's probably about 209 million or something like that. It's a very, very big country. And also, it doesn't surprise me that Ripple would be in South America, just simply because it is such a large country in itself. And they're also, if you have a look at the remittance, as I said, our remittance in January 2020 was up 325 million, according to Trading Economics. If you go back, it was 260, 270. So it is a fairly large remittance country, okay? 320 odd million, 325 million in US in just January alone. It doesn't surprise me that Ripple is there, okay? So as you know, Ripple is a very, very smart operator, and they're going to be where the growth is, okay? And don't forget, in these Latin American countries, population is very young, okay? Not like the elderly population of Japan or some of the Western countries. Population is very young, which means that the young people tend to use mobiles, okay? And apps and de-apps and all sorts of things. So they don't actually need to go into a bank, and they do, as you know, being young, like cryptocurrencies. So that would be a very, very big market for Ripple and Brad Garlinghouse. And it doesn't surprise me that he's there, because, this is where the growth of the market is going, okay? So if we look at the story of just what the story is, according to Decrypt News Business, Ripple executives have had a word with the Brazilian central bank president. So they're looking at expanding their plans to Latin America, and apparently it was a closed business meeting. So Ripple CEO Brad Garlinghouse and other executives met last weekend over a video conference with Brazil's central bank president. The meeting addressed institutional matters but was closed to the press. So Brazil's central bank chief has made pro-crypto comments in the past, unlike his peers. Now, Ripple could, and XRP could start being the settlement system for the Brazil central bank. And seriously, that would seriously put them on the map, okay, in terms of central banks. And I believe that Ripple will be the #1 cryptocurrency. And I still love Ripple and XRP dearly. What can I say? So this is a very interesting meeting, I have to say. According to the agenda posted at the official website of the Central Bank of Brazil, the President Bank, Roberto Campos Neto, met last week with several representatives of the crypto startup. And they met obviously with CEO Brad Garlinghouse, who I believe is doing a fantastic job, okay? So it also included Ripple's General Director for Latin America, Ben Lawsky, a member of the company's board of directors, and it created the infamous Bit license and included Luz Sacco. I don't know who he is. But, this is, institutional matters could be, certainly, how people deal with the Brazilian central bank in terms of their exchange settlement accounts, in terms of their Nostro and Vostro accounts with the banks, Nostro accounts and Vostro accounts, the bank's Nostro account, their own Nostro account, Vostro account, their funds with another bank. So it's all to do with that, and also exchange settlement, how much liquidity the banks have in terms of reacting or dealing with the Brazilian central bank as well. So there is a lot going on here when we talk about central banks and the banks themselves, because the banks have to maintain liquidity, and it would be the central banks that make sure they do retain a certain amount of liquidity, and they have to report into the central banks every day. If they're anything like the Fed Central Bank or the Australian, the Reserve Bank of Australia, people that actually manage exchange funds in the banks have to report to the exchange to the central banks every day, okay? And this would be the same in Brazil, right? So this is a notable meeting. There is no doubt about it, and keep an eye on this because this is going to be very interesting. Ripple or XRP could be literally the banker to the central bank in terms of their payment settlement system, okay? Which, no other cryptocurrency can settle cross-border payments the way Ripplenet and XRP can, and this could be absolutely substantial. So definitely keep an eye on this. This is big, and honestly, we need to know pretty much what's going on here because this is a big story in itself. And certainly, if they become the banker to basically the central bank of Brazil, this is going to really seriously put them on the map. Okay, so there's a couple other stories here which I just want to go through. Ripple partner FSS integrates Samsung Pay card to its e-commerce gateway. Now, Samsung are doing some amazing things, I have to say. They put Tron on their phone. They put Engine on their phone, and every time they do something, these coins go up, and they're both the coins that I do like. So Ripple partners FSS have integrated Samsung Pay cards as part of the enhancement of its e-commerce payment gateway, according to the digital payment technology provider. This is great because it's an e-commerce platform which are required to provide value-added and capabilities in line with the latest technology. So Ripple are always where they need to be, okay? These guys run compared to every other cryptocurrency project out there. Ripple and XRP keep running way ahead of the crowd, and there is no reason why that coin, XRP, should not be a lot higher than 20%. Do not believe people that say this coin should be zero. They are talking absolute bumpkin and garbology, right? This coin should be, literally through the moon, okay? And it will be. It is just a matter of time, okay? Just a matter of time, right? So that's a good story in itself. Now let's go to another story that we've got here. Ripple has no plans to launch its own stablecoin, says CTO David Schwartz. Why would they need to? XRP is a store of value. It is very stable. It goes up. It's a store of value. It will continue to go up. It will, basically the correlation between it and Bitcoin will change over time. They don't need to because they have more liquidity in XRP than anything else. Why would they need to introduce a stable coin? It doesn't make sense. They don't need to do it, right? They don't need to do it. So the thing is, XRP is a better story than Tether. People shouldn't be in Tether. Tether is connected to the US dollar. And as I said before, they don't buy one for one. Every time they issue $1 of Tether, they don't go and buy $1 of US dollars. They actually buy only 70 cents. Tether should be 70 cents to the US dollar. and it's not stable, okay? So the fact is, Ripple aren't going to issue their own stable coin. Yes, they're interested in stable coins being put on the Ripple ledger because Ripple is a platform and it's a smart contract platform like Ethereum. It can do ICOs and everything else, and it can do, like EOS or like Waves. But why should those other coins be so expensive when Ripple is a smart contract platform and an ICO platform? Think about it, people. Ripple can do all that. It's a smart contract platform, right? So, Ripple should not be at 20 cents. Everyone that says that it's like that Peter Brand, or whatever his name is, Ripple is a smart contract platform. People don't even think about that or say anything about that, right? If Ethereum's a smart contract platform and Wave is a smart contract platform and EOS is, Ripple is too. So why is Ethereum where it is? Okay, admittedly, it does have a lot more ICOs on it, of course, and that makes sense. But, even other coins that barely have any ICOs on them, why should they be, at $5 or $2 when Ripple's at 20 cents, XRP is at 20 cents and has so much more going for it, okay? So, this is the whole thing. To the fudders out there, I disagree with you totally. Okay, so what else we got here? Looking. Oh yeah, Ripple Money Match offer free remittance service to India. Now, it doesn't surprise me because India, as we know, is 1.25 billion of people, right? Huge. Malaysian fintech company Money Match that runs its cross-border remittance service on Ripplenet blockchain technology has announced that it will be granting people from around the world free fund transfer service to India. Now, they can afford to do that because if people are buying and selling XRP, right, through Ripplenet, Ripple make money that way. No matter how small the buy-sell spread is, Ripple still make money. It creates incredible liquidity, right? People actually hold XRP. And if you're looking at a country like India that's got a growth rate in terms of population of something like 8 or 9%, and it's 1.25 billion, the second large populous country in the world, and also the people are young, the average age for people in India, because, they have a lot of kids, is under 35, then, the technology, is going to be used by the young people, okay? So, this is a great story for Ripple and XRP, right? Money Match did this in partnership with Ripple blockchain technology. Sometimes you've got to give a little bit away for the long story, the long run, okay? For the long plan, okay? And the long plan is Ripple are putting themselves exactly where they want to be. Everyone's too focused on the short plan. Look at the long story, right? The long plan. Ripple are putting themselves in strategic positions like India, 1.25 billion people, right? 1.25 billion people. Now, even if 50%, are young people are using, Ripple Net and XRP, that is going to be huge, okay? Huge. And this is a great story, okay? A great story, right? I'm really excited about what's happening with XRP. I tell you, everything I look at doesn't change, my idea of XRP. It's just such a great story. 4 hours ago, what do we got here? Digital checks feature could give XRP Ledger even more utility. Amazing. Blockchain validators may vote to add checks to XRP Ledger. This feature would allow recipients to accept funds manually, thereby preventing misdirected payments, right? Several other features also provided an advanced capability. Ripple's running, right? The technology is running compared to everyone else. Ripple's XRP Ledger may soon add a promising new feature called checks, according to the recent discussions between blockchain validators. How checks work. As the name suggests, XRP checks are very similar to a paper checks. A transaction initiator can send funds to a recipient, and the recipient can cash out at the amount at a later date. XRP does not actually move until the recipient cashes out the check. Amazing. What can I say? This Ripplenet is running, okay? And this is a great story in itself, okay? Fantastic story. So what else we got here? We've seen that one. That's a great story. Let's go into this one. And here we go. We've got another thing on CEO Brad Garlinghouse with the central banks in talking to those guys. And if there's anything else to add there, it's just global expansion for Ripple. Absolutely. And it is a fantastic story. What What else we got here? Anything of interest? You know, we know that, you know, they're in Santander. They've got Santander, Brazil, which is huge. You know, the CEO, the lady there, she's lovely, you know, is a huge supporter of Ripple and XRP, okay? Huge supporter. Huge supporter, okay? And it's all a really, really good story, okay? So let's just close that one down. What else we got here? Anything of interest? Now, there was something else. 700 mil XRP moved by BitThumb to an anonymous wallet for a fee of 0.00001. This is how cheap XRP is, right? If you multiply that 0.00001 by 20 cents, you know, it's literally, you know, what is it, 1 cent or something? I mean, seriously, it is so cheap, okay? So cheap. Now, BitThumb is a South Korean exchange, so it's interesting to know that 700 million has gone, you know, from one to another. That's a lot of money. I mean, that's 141 million according to this. So, you know, there's some argy-bargy going on, but it's still a good story, okay? So what else we got here? We've done that one. What's this one? No, how to buy digital. Okay, that's good. We like good stories like that. Let's have a look at this one. There's also some good technical stuff here. My system's a bit slow today, I tell you. So if we look at XRP technically, and this came out too on Crypto Briefing, just a great story, man. I'm excited about XRP, seriously. Honestly, I do like Ethereum. Ethereum's gone up a lot, and I think it will go up with this new proof of stake. So I'm a buyer of Ethereum, not advice, guys, not financial advice. You've got to look at your own story. I do think Ethereum's going to do pretty well, though. That's for me, not for you guys. You've got to look at your own due diligence, your own risk, your own financial position, and all that sort of things. I'm not a financial advisor. But anyway, here we go. XRP is going to add this new feature called checks. And honestly, that's just making the system, the Ripplenet system, better and better and better, okay? And honestly, this price, it's still in this downward channel. It needs to break up. And when this thing breaks up, I think it's going to go. And I think it's been kept down for a long time. I don't know who's keeping it down, but this thing is going to move. And when it moves, it's going to move, okay? So that's my view, and I'm sticking to that. So I would not be a seller of Ethereum, of XRP. I just think it's a great story. If we have a look at something else here, we know that XRP is still at 20 cents. But again, you know, this looks quite good to me. This thing could probably move up fairly quickly through 30 and maybe even 40 to 45. So technically, according to these, it looks pretty good to me. I like it. You know, I'm a buyer. I'm certainly not a seller of XRP, that's for sure. If it got lower, I'd be buying it with my ears pinned back. Seriously, people just don't understand. They know the price of everything, but they don't know the value of anything. Anyway, guys, that's enough for me today. If I come up with anything else, I'll you know, go through it with you guys. I'll probably miss something. Apologies if I have, but you know, I'm a busy girl and I'm not always perfect either. So please look after yourself, guys. I hope you're well, and I will talk to you very soon. Thank you.